Hey Venkatesh, welcome back. And as part of this episode, let us understand or continue the previous topic. What exactly the previous topic which we are working on? We are working on the info providers, correct? Specifically, the info object we started with. The info object we started with creation of characteristic kind of info object, correct, Venkatesh? So now let us see the continuation of that. Info objects are classified into how many types? Two types. One is characteristics, another one is key figure. So far we have seen how can we create a characteristics kind of info objects, correct? So now let us understand how can we create an info object of type key figures. So what are key figures? Key figures are nothing but your amount or quantity fields, correct? So get into your HANA Studio because HANA Studio is the only place where you can go and create your info objects, correct? Okay. So log into your HANA Studio. Once you log into your HANA Studio, you go to your respective info area, and in that info area, you can go and create an info object. Okay. So now you are able to see our info objects. When you log into your HANA Studio, whatever the previous state, it will be there. You double click on your system, it will ask for the password. Enter your password, then go to your respective info area. Okay. So now it is taking us to a specific info area. Okay. Expand that, you might have already created a info object of type characteristic, correct? So when you create an info object of type characteristics, what might have happened? Just give me a second, please.
Okay, sir.
Great. So now let us understand how to create it. See, we didn't created a folder of type characteristics, correct? But however, it got created on its own. You observe that?
Yes, sir.
So like that, if you create a ADSO or DSO, there will be separate folder created. It will to group the object by object type. Okay. So new info object. Now this
Info
time I
object.
wanted to create a key figures, correct?
Yes, sir.
ZV CJ24 maybe salary. Okay. Salary. So instead of character, is it a characteristics? No, it's not a characteristic, correct? It has to be key figure.
Key figure.
So if it is a key figure, key figures can be of different types. See, it can be currency, it can be floating point, it can be decimal, it can be anything, correct? So if you are creating just a number and all, fine. If it is a number which is defining something, it will not associated with any unit of measure, correct? Meaning, if I am charging you some amount or money for your training, when I ask you money, that will associated with some currency, correct? I'm asking you 30,000. What is 30,000? USD or dollar or INR, correct? So if
Yes,
it
sir.
is a amount or quantity, it has to be in units, correct? You are asking me to get a server access. When I ask, I should ask how many months or how many years, correct? If I am not asking, you just
Yes, sir.
say I need it. You should say how many months, correct, or how many period. If you say only one, what should I understand? 1 year, 1 month, or 1 quarter, or 1 6 months, correct? So any amount or quantity field has to be associated with what? It has to be associated with your currency or unit of measure. So if it is just a number, for example, integer, I will just create an integer. It does not need anything, correct? It's just a number, correct?
Yes, sir.
Finish. So, sorry, I made it as salary, but however, you can change the description later also. Here, what you can do, you can just give this as some other meaningful name of salary, correct? Summation by default aggregation, you can activate it. It will let you to activate. Got it? See, if you see in the left hand side, there is a folder which got created. What that folder is called as? Key figure.
Key
Okay,
figure.
since we created a object of type key figure, it created an object. Let me create one more KPI now. So for this, there is no unit of measure or amount or quantity. So now ZJ24 followed by what exactly would be salary. Okay. Again, the KPI key figure type is KPI currency field. Earlier I used a integer 4 or integer 8, correct? Now I am using currency, the data type. When you click on finish, it will take you to the next screen. Okay. So here if you see the aggregation properties summation, I'm totally fine. If I check the syntax, see it will show an error here.
Yes, sir.
Why that error is coming? See what it says. Enter unit info object or fixed currency. When you are creating an amount or when I am charging some amount for server or for training, what it asks, it has to be associated with a currency, correct? When I say 100, it has to be 100 INR or 100 USD, correct? There is something called fixed currency, okay?
Okay, sir.
So fixed currency. So resolution of this server. Okay. So assume that this would be INR. So when I use this info object as a column, if you remember, we discussed on this, correct? If I'm using this info object salary, if I'm using this as one of the column of your info provider or BW table, if I load 100, it will not be just 100. System will also add at that, what is that? Default currency to INR, this thing. Got it? 100 INR it would be. Though you are loading 100, but it is
Yes.
actually 100 INR. Because this, that ZJ24 salary column will be by default, the currency is INR. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So now activate it. So activation went off, your key figure got created. Any doubts in this? Clear? Any doubts?
Sir,
No?
after activation of info object, we will edit that.
You
Is
can
that
edit, you can
possible?
edit. But do not
How?
try to edit these and all. Okay. See,
Okay, sir.
while creating only you will have complete clarity, okay? But before using this info object in any other DSOs or something like that, and you can go and change. If you are using only in one of the table, then you can change it because you know the requirement, correct? But assume that somebody else has created and this particular field has been used in 100 or 10 or 5 different providers. In that case, you should not change it because they may need a INR, but you went and changed it to USD, which is wrong. Even in other report also, that will get updated as USD, which is wrong, correct? So if there is an info object, but it is hard coded with INR, if it is not meeting your requirement, what you should do? You create another info object of your own pointing to USD. Got it?
Yes, sir. Any.
If you want
How
any
can I
currency.
edit? Okay, sir.
See, there can be another requirement. Any data you load it to this table will be in Indian currency, correct? But there could be another case. You are clear with this? Fixed currency?
Yes, sir.
So there could be a case where you are working or your company is doing operations across the globe, okay?
Yes, sir.
Fixed currency means what? INR always. But your company is doing across the globe and they have some other data set. Okay. They have amount in local currency. There's another column called amount in local currency. It can be 1, 2. For one record, it can be USD. For another record, it can be 200. It can be euro. The third record, it can be 300 INR. Fourth record might be 400 JPY, different currency might be there, okay, in a table. So in this case, can I use this info object, what we just now created?
No, sir.
Why? Because this can always be tagged to only one currency.
One currency.
So now let us see the another option. How can we make our field to be dynamic? Okay. So I am creating a new info object. Let me call this as ZJ24 amount. Okay. Amount, general amount, all currency. We generally won't maintain, for your understanding purpose. I'm maintaining. Okay. All the bracket. KPI, change the KPI to K, and currency is currency only. Click on finish. Okay, here what is the next step? Is here fixed currency we are maintaining. I can maintain INR, UR, USD, whatever it is. But if you don't want this to be unique, single currency, if you want it to be dynamic, you choose currency info object. Okay. What is this we are creating? We are creating an info object only. But there is an option for us to enter one more info object here, currency info object. If you browse, there will be a info object called zero currency. Okay. It is showing all the currency info object. Okay. Search for zero. Okay. What we are giving, we are creating a new info object of type amount or currency column, but it is not a fixed currency. It is associated with one of the other column or other info object called zero currency. Okay. So whenever I
Okay,
use
sir.
ZJ24 amount column, right? Earlier, if I use old info object, what was happening? When I add a column, only that column would be added. Currency by default, it will be tagged to INR. But when I add a new column, ZJAMT column, to this table while defining, as of now, we have not learned how to create this BW table or info provider. We'll see or learn in upcoming session. Okay. When I add this info object, not only this info object will be added, along with that, there will be another column added called zero currency column will get added. Whenever or wherever I add that J24 amount column, the info object just now what we created here, right? It is associated with this dynamic currency, right? Wherever I use that info object, zero currency will also get added. When I am loading the data now, I have option to load the amount value also and the currency key value also. Understood? What is the difference between fixed currency and the reference currency, zero currency? When you use, whenever your incoming
Yes, sir.
data can have more than one type of currency, you can go with this type of thing. Generally, it will be always this only. Okay. But
Okay,
sometimes
sir.
if you want always a fixed currency, you can go with this also. Fixed currency means all the incoming data is INR. You can hard code INR in the transformation or write a code. Okay. How to write a code, how
Okay,
to
sir.
hard code, we'll learn later. But you can go always with this. But if you want to go with this, you can go with this also. I'm showing both the options. Similarly, quantity also, if you are creating a quantity info object, which is of type key figure. See, if I right click on key figure folder, it will show only option to create a key figure. Correct.
Yes, sir.
ZJ24QTY quantity. Sorry. So here key figure. See here there is something called quant. Again, quantity also should also associated with what unit of measure. I want you to send a microphone. I want you to send a laptop. You are a laptop distributor. What is the next question you will ask?
How many laptops
Yes, the
you want?
quantity. If I say one, what is one box? One box can contain 12 laptop or one lot of laptop. Correct.
Yes, sir.
So now again it is fixed unit you can assign. Fixed unit can be, if you browse it, it will show list of all possible unit of measure which is maintained in the system. See for example, add square inch, cubic inch, millimeter, centimeter, kg, nano, kilometer, all those things. But if you want to be dynamic, you go with Unit info object, there is a unit info object called 0 unit. Okay, you can use that. So whenever I add zj quantity, it will also add another column in your table called 0 unit. For that column you can load the data, which is a dynamic data. Any doubts in this?
No, sir, but I have one doubt overall.
Go ahead, please. You should ask your doubt. That is the
Uh,
main motto.
I am created a info object.
Okay.
After I found a mistake on info object,
Okay.
so how can I edit that only that info object?
What is that? What is that? Can you come again, please? You created an info object. Okay. After that,
Uh, I found a one mistake on info object.
you just come back and edit it. For example, you created this ZV2 region, correct? Assume
Yes,
that
sir.
the region description they wanted in uppercase. Make it as R capital. It will be in editable mode. Okay. You will be able to edit it in development, not in production or
Okay,
pre-prod. Okay. Come back to development, edit it, and move across landscape. For example, region length was 20, but it was supposed to be 25. Come back and change it to 25 and
okay, okay,
activate
sir.
it. Okay. But if this info object is being used or added already to some table, sometimes even this table also might get inactive. You have to go and activate again that also. And you have to move the info object along with this table also to next environment. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts in this?
No, sir.
Good.
Sir,
Go ahead, go ahead. What else you have doubts?
uh, info object name any changes we can do?
No, 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 no. Once the info object is created, you cannot change the name. You can change any other property. It's like your account number. Once the account number is
Okay.
created, can you change the account number? Or once the Aadhaar is created, can you change the Aadhaar number? No,
After
right?
after we create, we will delete that and we
Yes,
create
you
a
can
new
make that record
info object.
inactive and you can create a new record. Okay,
Okay,
but you
okay, sir.
cannot
Okay,
edit, correct? It is
yes,
something
sir.
like that. Pin code.
Okay, okay,
You
sir.
might have entered the wrong pin code. Wrong pin code is fine. But once the pin code is created, it is constant, correct? Like that, the
Yes, sir.
same rule will applicable to here also.
Okay, sir.
Got it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Any other doubts over here?
No, sir. Sir, after created a info object,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we noted our info object name. Every time that name was we want to note,
What is that? You created an info object and then
then we will copy to MS Excel.
mm-hmm.
Every time we will change that name. But suppose employee ID.
See, that is and all your reference purpose. Okay, you might be creating a documentation, you update it accordingly.
Okay, okay, sir.
So, if you are creating a technical specification, refer what is there in the system and you change the value accordingly. Okay, you don't have to worry too much about that. Whether you have to copy to
Okay,
Notepad or WordPad, all those things that completely depend on your process, what you are following in your project. Okay, you don't have to worry too
okay,
much
sir.
about that.
Okay, sir.
Any doubts in that?
No, no, sir.
Good. All good?
Yes, sir.
Great. So now, so all good. Any other doubts?
No, sir.
Great. So now let us go.
Sir, another doubt I have.
Good.
How can I open a PSA table?
Okay. So have you gone through the recording, yesterday's recording?
Yes, sir. But
You should go through. If you go through, you will get to know, correct?
Yes,
So
sir.
for example, you right click, go to the data source, whatever your data source you are interested in, you should go to that data source. Okay, and in that data
Okay.
source you will be able to add whatever you wish to. For example, ECC SLT, not ECC SLT, right? It's a BW system, correct? Go
Yes, sir.
back to your BW system, find the data source technical name. Ultimately, you will go to PSA table because you wanted to see the data what has been extracted, correct?
Yes, sir.
So log into your BW system. Go to RSA1 in your BW system. So here you have to find the data source. How to find the data source? Can you tell me?
No, sir.
No means you have to tell me. See, you can go to data source and you know your data source is related to T90 client 090. This source system is corresponding to your ECC, correct?
Yes, sir.
So either you can come from data source and from here, if the source system is not selected, you can do that. Otherwise, you can come to source system tab.
Sir, how to change T90 another source system like that?
First T90 you got to know, right? As of now,
Yes,
T90
sir.
only you are going to do. Assume that it was something else means somebody.
Okay,
Assume
okay,
that
sir.
I am using the same system or you might be working on some other flat file based source system. Okay. You might have chosen this. Now, if you try to search your data source, you will not be able to find that.
Okay,
Whatever the
okay,
data
sir.
source what we created. Wait for this to change. File. Okay. So if you want to see the data source related to that flat file data source, some other system, you do that. Okay, but see it is showing data source related to ZBW4 HANA source system. But it is not
Okay.
having your data source, obviously, because your data source is not associated with this guy, correct? Now what
Yes,
you
sir.
will do? What is the next thing you will do? You will go here. You are in data source, okay? RS7 data source. Now
Yes,
click
sir.
on this button.
And select BW
Wherever your source system, the source system can be in
T90
any of the
client.
folder. So
Yes,
now
sir.
you are able to see this. Now you are able to see the data source. Many data source created by many people. Okay. Now assume that
Okay,
you
okay,
wanted
sir.
to see the PSA table of this data source. How can you do that? Right click and
Right click.
manage. Okay. So just give me a second. Somebody is ringing a bell. So right click and use an option of manage. When you go and do this manage, what will happen? You will get a pop-up window. It will show if there are any request which has been loaded, correct? Or if the data is extracted, you will be able to see the request. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So if the request is not yet loaded, you will not be able to see that.
Okay, sir.
Any doubts in this?
No, sir.
Great. So now you want to see, right? There may not be any data which is loaded. Okay, let me go to this data source. Okay, or we can take our data source, whatever has been created. Okay, so right click. When you do the manage, you will be able to see the data set. Manage. See here, you will be able to see in this column. Okay,
That's table number, sir. Table
table
name.
name, which is nothing but it will be in
Ah,
number form. As of
okay,
now, it
okay,
is
sir.
blank in this. If the data gets loaded successfully, you will be able to see the same. Understood?
Okay, okay, sir. Now I can
So
understand, sir.
one more way is, it's a good question. If you double click on an info package, okay, double click on an info package to get a technical name of your PSA table, or double click on the data source. Here this symbol is there, right? Technical attribute. Double click on
Yes,
your
sir.
data source in RSA1. If you click on this, there will be a pop-up window which appears. There you will be able to see PSA table. It is exactly same as right click manage and seeing the technical name. Both are one and the same. Okay. There's no difference.
Okay, sir.
But different ways to see the PSA table technical name. Understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Any other doubts over here?
No, sir. My main doubt is PSC table number. Table name.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
Now I have. Now I have a clarity.
Main thing is go slowly only. There is no hurry. Okay. Main
Okay,
thing
okay,
is
sir.
like you should be clear on what to choose, what not to choose. That's it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So now you have an understanding. Go ahead and start creating couple of info objects. So we are completed our info object topic. Okay, the very important topic. Now what all we have done? We have created an info object for the all the columns of your info provider. The next thing is like we'll have to understand what are the different types of BW table or info providers are present in the system. Then we will have to use the same. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So that's all for today's session, our Venkatesh. In the next session, we'll see a couple of more examples or more topic. Clear?
Yes, sir.
I will be sharing the recording. Please go through that and practice and watch and understand, and also try to explore more in the Google also. Don't stick to what I'm also telling. Okay, I'm telling what is really required for you to work. Okay, so if you try to read more and more, you will understand, you will improve your English, you will understand different ways of using the same object, or different people, they are telling the explanation on the same object in a different way, so that if people is asking during an interview or some other place, you will be good to go. You don't have to worry or try to remember, because you know different things related to the same. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Any other doubts?
No, sir.
Good. Thank you so much, Venkatesh. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye, sir.
That's all with respect to today's session, guys. If you are looking for online training on SAP ABAP, BW, BW ABAP, BW on HANA, Native HANA, feel free to reach out to me on my mail ID, that is venugopalmn1988@gmail.com. You can also call me on my mobile number, that is +91 followed by 973 998 3992. Thank you so much and have a good one. Bye bye.